Well, somebody's on here. I'm thinking it might be Ted, but I'm not positive. He's not answering.
I didn't take
This is Ted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you want, you can share your screen and we can all see it. And you can tell everybody here about your...
You want one for Maria too?
Okay, I don't know how I would share a screen. You mean on my phone?
Oh, you're on your phone? Okay, well, what we can do is go to your website too.
Well, if I can share the screen, we'll figure that out. Okay, here's your email.
It's on the
Yeah, I see a link here. Okay, the page can't be displayed. I wonder what that's about.
This being recorded, we're recording it, right?
yeah, it's being recorded by my camera.
Go to the link, we can look at. Yeah, okay, let me try a different
Actually,
program. Sorry.
okay, yeah, you can actually take the 2 cent and then put one on each envelope. Rather than cut them out, just do your 3 envelopes with the...
No, I was cutting them out because I didn't have
No,
one
you-
envelope at the time, so
Oh,
I didn't have anywhere to stick the sticky.
Do you have 3 or not?
No, I only took one envelope.
No,
I
no,
didn't
you-
want to take.
Oh, well then if you only want to do 1, that's fine. But I just figured,
Oh, I could do one. I'm going to do it to participate. I've been mailing. I've mailed
Yeah,
2 cent
right.
stuff out before, so.
We got 3 women sent to me, myself, and I.
whatever you want to do. Yeah, I mean, if you want, if somebody wants
Okay,
to do 6,
I'm on the
feel free.
website, but I'm not sure what
I
to
wanna
do.
try
It
that.
says, will you allow to use your camera and microphone?
It should
Whatever.
say also, if you go to the, let me find it here. In the bottom, in the lower right-hand corner, there should be 3 vertical bars. And you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, I'm on the web at the Meet with Family demo at Fort Glen,
Right.
and it says, will you allow the microphone and camera? Well, that's not what we want. We want the screen sharing, I think, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
I'll go to your website. That'll solve it.
Okay, sorry.
I think you
Okay,
have
yeah,
to
no
allow
worries.
anyway, and then the screen sharing is allowed as part of that process.
Your website is
Are we doing
Abodia.
just 2 cent, or are we doing?
You probably want abodia.com/mail.
Is it 1 cent for the post cards? Nelson, the one is for a.
Yeah, 1 cent is...
Okay, can you see
That's your postcard, right?
anything on
There we
that?
go.
Yes, I see my website on my telephone. How curious.
Okay, you're not seeing it on the software.
Yeah, you only need one.
Yes, I'm using your program on my phone, and I see my website on my
No, I'm
phone.
saying
Oh,
you
okay,
want the
good,
one on
good,
it.
good.
'Cause I think the one for postcards.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, well, you tell me where to go, I'll go.
Well, okay, just hold there for a minute. And shall I start?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start.
okay,
You
one
got,
take
tell
out.
them how many you
Oh.
have here.
We've got,
2 cents.
how many people there's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us total here right now.
Okay. I don't hear you all very clearly, so I myself will try to speak slowly and deliberately. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Ted.
Okay. I wrote down what I thought I'd like to tell you all, and it's on a website as well. And the website is easy. Nelson spells his name with an N, so abodia.com/N is my narrative about what I'll discuss today, but you can keep on the website you're looking at now. I hear Nelson's voice. Am I talking to Glenn? Is that who's been talking to me?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, well, the phone doesn't quite sound like the man I met before, but that's okay. I trust you. Okay. So, if anybody anywhere in the world has a curiosity about what I'm doing, abodia.com/N as in Nelson or Nancy or Navy. That's where this is written down. But now my website is what existed before, and in fact the new web page points back to abodia.com/mail. But my narrative is rather complete if you should miss this whole discussion today. And so I hope that people might read it later, whatever. But I'll just comment live. There's the narrative. But, well, we can look at that or we can look back at the original page. Let's go back, since we are screen sharing in a sense, that's the page we want to be on. I practiced this and I made an audio and I wrote it down, but now that it's live, it's a little different. I want to tell people many things, and the 2-cent mail is the beginning. Almost every stranger in the world I should meet, I ask them for an address, and they think that's prying and frightful, but a few people actually give me an address. And when I get an address, I pound it with 2-cent mail until I get a reaction. Initially, people can pretend it was an accident or a mistake or whatever, and sometimes people receive my mail and it says postage due 50 cents, and they get very angry with me. The point that I'm trying to make is we're not enforcing law. That's what many people think. We are teachers, and we are diplomats, and we're trying to invite the postman to understand what we're doing without argument or fight. But you know, it all starts sort of heated. Now, Jason is a guy in Iowa, and he recently received from his postmaster a letter that said, "We're sorry for the former confusion. Your general mail delivery is all set." So he's going to receiving mail as general mail delivery, and many in my little group are striving for or achieving that goal to receive general mail. General mail is a far notch above 2-cent mail. 2-cent mail has to do with the traveling of packages and such back and forth, but general mail delivery, in my opinion, says I am not a U.S. citizen, I'm a Christian, I'm a child of God, just give me my mail and knock off all this law stuff. So I think intertwined with the concept of mail are many things. How it travels, what's their legal or lawful obligation, what happens to the person who receives mail and doesn't return it, and then general delivery. So these things are all mixed in together. Do not go home and write a registered letter to a friend and send it with free postage. You're too high on the tree. You have to do the groundwork. You should do many 2-cent mails, and then you might do some larger packages. But anyway, mail is very interesting to me. I once had a mail order business, and I spent $500,000 on postage, and we sold $5 million worth of product. But now I have spent $1,000 buying 2-cent stamps. So at least I believe it's real. Nobody would throw that kind of money at something that's not real. But anyway, so you start with 2-cent mail. On the website, the envelope that's in the gray field shows you a sample of a good form of a letter to send out. You might shift it up just a little bit, Glenn, so we can see that envelope in full. Yeah. Now, there it says John Sample, care of 1 Main Street. I believe when you're doing general delivery, that you don't even need the CO, but it's okay.
We're not hearing you, Ted. Shows have got good internet. We're not hearing you, Ted. We're not hearing you, Ted.
He may have lost the connection, his end.
Could have, yeah. Well, we're getting good signal.
Show that if someone's censoring it.
Might be. They don't like us talking about this stuff. Showing we're getting good signal. Haven't had any trouble with the Wi-Fi here.
That's good. When you get them back, just let them know that everyone has 3 envelopes stamped, and we want to make sure if we're too long, we start getting them addressed.
Do you have,
Is,
is he on WhatsApp?
no, I don't think so. I use the direct, his direct cell phone number. We can't hear you. Bobby, while we're waiting, since I've been wanting to ask some questions of you, so like what you've done, because it sounded like you were pretty far down the road,
With the 2 cent.
or whatever. Yeah.
Well, with the 2 cent mail, what I'm interesting to find out from this is packages, because I have no problem sending 2 cent mail out to anybody as long as it's still like a letter size or whatever. When I tried to mail somebody in Ohio a USB drive in there with 2 cent mail, it kept coming back to me over and over again, asking for more postage. But they didn't ruin the stamps in the corner. They just sent it back to me saying, you need more.
They didn't
You know,
cancel them?
no, they wouldn't cancel the stamps. They kept sending them back, even when I just kept putting, because I said, all right, a little 2 cents, I'll stick a couple more on there and see, maybe because it's going further, it's a little thicker. They still wouldn't cancel the stamps and sent it back to me saying it's not enough.
Didn't tell you how much?
No, they would not tell me how much. They would not tell me how much. That's all they would say is, there's not enough postage.
Insufficient.
And that was, right, that's all there was, insufficient postage, and that's it. When I was testing it at the beginning, I mailed to somebody in the same town. I mailed it to somebody there using their zip code, but I used the 2 cent mail process, got to them in like 2 days. I told them, now I want you to mail me one with the same address I printed here, use your address, mail it to me. And I said, do it however you want. They put a regular stamp on it and mailed it to me. They got it back. They wouldn't deliver it to me. And they got it back with a yellow sticker on it with international postage prices on it.
Wow.
Was
Wow.
it like
Excuse me,
$50,
he said he's-
$40?
Yes,
Glenn?
Huh?
Ted-
in the same
Ted
town.
got back to me, he says it wants a username and a password.
Oh. Okay. I'll email it to him.
Okay, why don't you say it while I could send it a
Um,
secondary.
Let me refresh myself. Actually, oh. Okay, they should all be in. They kicked me out for some reason. Yeah, there, it's back. Are you back there, Ted?
What do I tell him? You may be live.
Tell him to unmute himself. He should be good. I had to log in.
It's not dead.
Are you there, Ted? Somebody's breathing hard. Yeah, so Victoria can hear.
Can you unmute him as the administrator there?
I tried.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah,
Now?
we can hear you, Ted.
All right.
Okay, can somebody recall any word or phrase that I may have been speaking when I...
You were
Well, maybe
talking. You were
I
talking.
was talking about the envelope on the screen.
Yeah, you were.
Okay, so you don't need a name. You can use a name or nickname or none. You do need either a street address or a popular building like the train station or the Chicago Library. I put my state on a line below the city, which is international format, because every state Ohio, West Virginia, New York, they're all a nation of themselves. Now, I don't know that the postman understands this, but I always put my state on a line below. I never use a two-letter state, WVOHCA. I would never use NY for New York. I might put N period York or N period Y period, but never use a two-letter state nor a zip code without brackets, because you're pointing to a federal district under United States 64 million codes. It doesn't matter how a letter is addressed. When you receive it, you choose to keep it and be bound by it, or you must return it to be free from it. So it doesn't matter if somebody writes to you, a company or a corporation or court, writes to you in all capital letters and uses a two-letter state and zip code. You just return those because those are not for you. But if you keep it, then you're hung by all those things. So that's a little about my label going on. Now, up to the top left, it's a box with my name and address, and below it says First Class U.S. Mail, 12 Statutes at Large, Chapter 71, etc. When you're beginning, or even forever, it's good to put the law on the envelope. Then the postman, whether he's aware or not, he must abide by that law. And most postmen have never heard of that law. It's from 1860 or so, but I believe that it was never rescinded. The phrase on the right, by the way, putting a box around your from and to address or your name or whatever, that's a good idea in the sense that it takes you out of the picture. You're no longer legally bound by whatever's going on here. Things in boxes or brackets are excluded from a point of view of law. In bold letters, I have General Post Office, non-domestic, zip exempt. Sometimes I write without the United States, and I write United States in all capital letters, which is the corporation. But I think that the General Post Office, there's something odd about me, probably many things. But I get an idea and I just push it forever, even if I'm beaten or chained or handcuffed or imprisoned and fine. I just hold on to an idea without quitting. Now, I've been using the phrase General Post Office for years. I always put that on there. But I think now what's going on is it's pointing to the law, the postal regulations before the Constitution of 1789, before the United States existed. And that brings with it a lot of freedoms that you don't have otherwise. I took a 4-pound package of a book, 14 inches square, 3 inches thick, to the postmaster, to the post office, to the clerk, and I had the free postage insignia on it. Well, they wouldn't accept that. Well, I just went outside and put it in a blue box, and it went directly to Pittsburgh with no problem. If you go to the clerk, they have defenses to keep you into the U.S. Postal Service. They want to inspect or talk about every package that's greater than 16 ounces. I didn't have that problem when I put it in the mail outside. I believe once you get it into the mail stream, the U.S. Postal Service must carry it forward, unless, of course, the address is void or something. But anyway, they don't know, but they have obligations to meet the U.S. Post Office regulations, of which I have many. I've only mentioned a few. But they don't know that, so you're just gently, if you just gently mail 2 or 4 2-cent letters every few days at random boxes around your city, you I think, can break them down to where they're understanding. So, it's not a matter of law or force or whatever. It's a matter of diplomacy. And if you just keep consistently mailing things out, I think they'll catch on. Don't mail out a precious document. Don't mail overnight to a court or something. Just write to your friends and family. Anybody can write to me. And if anybody will give me a mail address by email or whatever, I will write back to you. And that's what I've been doing with Nelson, although maybe they haven't gone so smoothly with him. But I've written to hundreds, even thousands of different people. And most people are simply frightened and annoyed. They don't understand that this is real. But establishing your rights in mail is very important because, for one, we pass legal documents back and forth. We might send somebody money or a check or a book. Mail is critical in our whole thinking process, how we get and send information. And I will put many things in the mail that I won't send electronically. I don't want the world to know what I'm talking to you directly about. I'll put it on a disk or something, or a thumb drive and send it to you. And I think Nelson has a collection of at least 1,000 of my files that I sent in that manner, if he kept it, which I'm not sure. Okay, so the next one down has more stuff on the left column outside of the square, which is about the international law. And then I've written postage paid, UPU in the top right corner. That mail, a book or whatever, I'm mailing for free. I'm just calling out international regulations. It's sort of smeared out there, but it would have my signature or my autograph or my fingerprint. And always putting the zip code in brackets and always saying zipped exempt. So that's the nature of what I'm doing. Now, further down, you'll see the word superior jurisdiction. I believe in there, I'm trying to explain. By the way, I'm not pledging agreement with Nelson or Glenn. We can all think slightly different, and you just choose whichever way you want to follow. We're all seeking truth and freedom, but our methods may vary, and that's okay. There are many different ways to do things that I'm talking about. I'm just telling you my way, which I have done 28,000 times. An old man once mailed a 2-cent letter with a zip code, and he said, it works. And I said, you have one test, I have 28,000 tests. Now, who are you going to believe? But anyway, people pretty much believe what they want to believe.
Hello?
We might have gotten kicked out again.
We're there. Are you there, Ted? We're not hearing you.
He's muted again.
Well, no,
Right, or
it
no?
shows his camera, but this doesn't show that he's muted.
Oh, no. Glasses on, I shouldn't try to see.
And we're getting internet too. We're getting Wi-Fi.
He goes, maybe I should put these back on.
No, he left and he's coming back.
Okay.
So he got dumped out like that.
Something. There he is. He is. He's got it unmuted, so.
He's not even to unmute himself.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not quite understanding this program. I have a few mottos or maxims that are precious to me. I hope they might help you. Anyone can do something like I'm doing one time or 100 times and always fail. Anyone can quit. That's easy to do. If you're going to quit, quit today. But I get an idea and I just keep doing it regardless of what happens until I make it true. And I've thought up or invented ideas that I haven't read from other people. So, the world is not words and ideas and or what other people do is a beginning, but it's not the limit. A man once learned how to do 2 cent. He received my 2-cent letter and he was excited and made a YouTube. I wished to talk to him, he would not. I wished him to read my website, he would not. And he made a YouTube that has wrong information. This makes me really mad when somebody's teaching something that's wrong because most people don't think, well, why don't I check that? Why don't I go outside and see what happens? He was saying you have to drop your mail inside of the post office at the drop letter slot, which many people say, my own experience through thousands of mailing is I can drop them in a blue box anywhere in any city. I've mailed from Chicago and Denver. I've mailed from all over the place. Even so simple as simply a street address, a city, state, and the mail went right on through. But, you know, we want our mail to always go through, and I think with Jason in Idaho, we have a swift mail between the two of us, and there are hundreds of people I do have good mail stream with. But there are a few people, and the mail just keeps coming back because some postman along that route thinks what we're doing is wrong. Now, I can't go to your neighborhood and tell your postman, but I think that the best writing affidavits and letters and going to sue them in court, I think all of that's a waste of time. Just keep pumping out the 2-cent letters, and don't call me every time one fails. Just keep pounding them away until you're getting 90, 95, 100% results. It's a matter of your backbone that makes it work. You're right in law, but you just have to keep doing it, I think. But the 2-cent mail is the beginning. Then you go on up to free mail, certified mail, registered mail, and then you go to general delivery, and you're in heaven. Okay, I'm going to rest a moment. If anybody has any questions about anything, let me try to help.
Could we just do, what I need to do is just, I want to just get the basic letter done. Everybody do 1 or 2 and with each piece, and then at that point.
I hear somebody talking, but it's garbled. I really can't understand the words.
That's Nelson. Why don't you talk louder so they can hear you?
Ted, what I'd like you to do is, everyone here has envelopes, 2-cent stamps, and a pen. So what I'd like to do is go through each item on what we're seeing on the screen. They can put their information in as they wish, and you can explain each piece and why, and just start at the top, go all the way to the end, and everyone will have at least one letter ready to go, whether they mail it to themselves or a friend.
Okay, that's a good plan. First of all, a return address is not required, but it's a good idea. And if I'm ever going to mail something back to an attorney or judge, I put the return address and the outgoing address both pointing to him. No, nothing coming back to me. Okay, on the envelope before us, which is addressed to John Sample, I'll start as Nelson suggested. In the top left corner is my name and my address, not my resident address, whatever that might be. It's fine to use the expression C/O for care of. You are not a building, nor are you trapped in a building. You're a free spirit who happened to receive mail at that location. The word near before the city is okay, no harm. And West Virginia below the city is better than on the same line. I could have used a zip or not. Putting a box around things is great because that takes the sting of law off your back, whether people realize that or not. And printing the actual law, first class U.S. mail, 12 cents at large, that's good in the beginning, but I put it on most all that I send. By the way, as I think Nelson suggested, you have an envelope and a pen. I tell people if you have an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, write in the center third panel the general information, your name and address, the general post office, etc., and then make Xerox copies of it and just write in the outgoing address to the people you want to send to, but you don't have to write the whole thing every time. Most of it is constant. The only part that's changing is who you're writing to. So if you have a pen and a paper and a copier machine, you can do lots of these without a fuss. But see, some would say too much to write. But you only write it one time, then make copies. Okay, so boxes are good, brackets are good, and on the sheet before us, General Post Office with a hyphen or capitalized with a. I always put a period after every line when I'm finished. I learned that from David Clarence, who talks about the executor letter. He does it so that somebody can't write something after the line, like box 32 or whatever. Put a period after every line on the on this or anything you write. I've used the word non-domestic and the word zip exempt. I think the zip exempt is very important. It takes away the whole idea of United States codes or federal law on the back of the one who receives and accepts a piece of mail with a zip code on it. Something about the zip code. But the zip code is not bad if it's explained exempt, zip exempt, and it's in brackets, because it can both help the mail go forward and it keeps a mailman from writing a zip on your letter. Okay, so I talked about the return address and the form of the address. I use the same form in the return address that I do in the outgoing address. I don't make some variation. I see on that envelope I didn't put a period after the zip code bracket. I would do that in the future. And then it's not 2 cents for everything. It's 2 cents per each half ounce. In the U.S. postal system, they charge you per 1 ounce. But in the original statutes at large, it was based on per half ounce. You can send 2 pages folded for 2 cents, half ounce. If you have 3 pages, it's going to cost you 2 times 2 cents. If you have 6 pages, it's 3 pages. So it's in half-inch modules, and that module of weight applies worldwide. It's further stated on the website, but 1 cent will take a letter within your city, from Ocean City to Ocean City. 2 cents will take your letter across the country, and 3 cents will take it around the world. On postcards, 1 cent will take it 1,500 miles or to the Mississippi. 2 cents will cross the country or Hawaii or Alaska, but 3 cents will take a postcard around the world. Now, I don't know exactly where I got all these rates, but I use them regularly and they seem to work okay. By the way, on my website is some statutes at law you can read right off the government website, but I have far more. I have 500,000 files that I'm happy to share with people if we just work out a way to communicate. Nelson, that was a general description about the way to make an envelope. Do you or anybody have questions?
I'll just start and then open it up to the rest of them. One question that came up, is it just a typo that the boxes have an opening somewhere? It's like, no, the ink didn't work properly, or do you do that for a reason?
I'm printing that from a database program. You're talking about 25301 and the white space in the box?
Yes.
Okay, that's simply a mistake. When I printed the zip code, it cleared the area around it and left it open on the side. I think it's meaningless. I don't think it's necessary to fill it in. If you have brackets, that's as good. A box is better, and you see I got brackets around the 25301. No, the space comes out of my database and it's not important. And it's not even important to make the boxes, but it's a safekeeping. It's just, you're not in the game. You're telling the postman where to take it, but it carries no legal consequences when it's in a box or in brackets, as I understand it from the Chicago Styles Manual. I'm sure that's something well known to Glenn.
Right, so the fact that you do not put the citation or the words General Post Office in a box is forcing them to abide by those laws.
Well, now you're getting a little technical, but I think you're entirely right. But I would say that whether it's in the box or not, it still applies to them. But better that's perhaps. And the same with the law on the left side. The 2 items that are not boxed are important, so let's not box them.
Well, could you repeat again, for those of us that were taking notes, you spoke rather quickly, the 1 cent, 2 cent, and 3 cent, and where they go, each one, the letter and the postcard.
Okay, first of all, in letter weights, we're always talking about half-inch increments, and 2 pages would be a half ounce. So a letter within the city, from Ocean City to Ocean City, that's only a half ounce, is only a penny, 1 cent. Now, if you have 3 or 4 pages, you just have to figure out how many half ounces. If you have A little more than a half ounce, and you count it as a full ounce. And if you have a little more than a full ounce, you count it as an ounce and a half.
Okay, I'm
And
confused.
half ounce
Ted,
juices.
Ted, I'm confused. Are you talking about, let's just do letters for a second, not postcards. So a letter in
Yeah,
my,
okay.
a
Yeah, a letter within the same city is 1 cent per each half ounce.
okay,
And well, now here's an error that I once made. I made a letter from Charleston to Charleston, but I went out of town and tried to mail it. Theoretically, it's now 2 cents because I'm not mailing from within the same city. But anyway, 1 cent takes a letter per half.
We lost
that's good. I'm gonna actually try that a couple times for fun, to my city council.
Right inside town.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
haven't
send them a
tried
2
that.
cent, now I'm gonna try a 1 cent, just local.
So this is
If
more
it's
that
under-
takes us out of
You,
the
you tell
system.
them you don't even deserve 2 cents.
I don't even want to put my 2 cents into this.
That may actually be where that came from, actually.
Yeah.
I couldn't find, I actually researched it one time, couldn't find any source.
Yeah.
Where that, the 2 cents, put in my 2 cents. Might be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what do I tell Ted?
Well, we're back. Hopefully he's,
We're back.
That's if it's a half ounce or less.
Right,
within your
per
area.
per half ounce, I believe.
Right,
So if it's
for
over-
a half ounce,
So
right.
everything, my understanding is per
are
half
you there,
ounce.
Ted?
Right.
Well, there's some other people joining too.
Can you hear me again?
We can hear you, yeah.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, we're here. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ted.
No, we're muted.
Oh, I think down we're muted, no? See the box.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ted.
Yep.
Your dad.
There, can you hear us? We can hear you. We can hear you. No, he's muted. I don't know what's going on.
Who's muting? Are you both muted?
He's Ted. He was not muted before. We were muted. Now we've unmuted and he's back muted.
That should do it.
Well, here I am.
Okay,
Okay,
can
Ted.
you hear us?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, so you were at the 1 cent per letter, half ounce, in your local community.
Yeah, 1 cent per each half ounce of letter within the same city.
Go ahead.
And 2 cents, I believe, will take it anywhere in our country. California, Hawaii, Alaska, anywhere in our country for 2 cents. And 3 cents anywhere in the world.
That's per half ounce, though. If it's two,
Per each half ounce.
Right. Okay.
The half ounce would include the weight of the envelope. I often do just 2 pieces of paper, and I let the envelope be the outside piece of paper, which I fold around the inside, so I can write on 3 faces, but I keep one side. Like I said, if you write out a master and then you make copies, that's a way to do it, and you can also print them from your computer. Most people would have problems printing an envelope with their printer, but to just print on an 8x11 sheet of paper and fold it is very easy to do.
Yeah, Ted, they have witnessed many of the items you mailed to me, so they've seen exactly what you're talking about.
I didn't understand that, if you want to repeat.
Of course, I showed the people here 5 or 6 different examples of what Ted has mailed to me. So they saw all the many of the variations with the 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, the different postcards, a fuller size letter, etc.
Many people have, my local girlfriend has written to me 12 times in this manner and never been harassed. And of course, I've written to her 55 times. For my birthday, she sent me 3 1-cent postcards, and another person in Pittsburgh sent me 20 2-cent stamps. I'm so easy to please.
Right.
But anyway, 1 cent for the letter in the city, 2 cents for the country, and 3 cents for the world. And the postcard, 1,500 miles for the first penny, the whole country for 2 cents, and a postcard will do the world for
That's good.
3 cents.
Nice.
But then, of course, when you get into free mail, you can do certified and registered and the world as well. But it may go a little slower. But okay, if I'm a golfer or a tennis person and I swing my racket many times, I believe that the brain finds shorter and shorter paths to communicate the process, and we probably get more efficient. So when I write to Nelson or anybody, I'm building a network between him and me. And at first it may be resisted, condemned, and returned, but after a while I get the path working. And of course, every now and then a new personal person comes in and they try to shut us down. So it's up to us to make this happen.
Okay, anyone else? We're going to go ahead and ask someone else if they have a specific question, which may be a little technical, but that's okay because they have that question and it's been on their mind.
So Ted, I'm assuming I kind of got my answer, but we'll go through it anyway. I've sent, based on your website and everything, 2-cent mail to people, and I've had no problem. Until I was trying to mail someone a USB drive in Ohio from New Jersey. And I tried multiple times adding stamps and stuff, and I got all the way up to putting 12 cents on there, which exceeded the weight because I did know about the ½ ounce of weight. But it still never got there. They still would not, it still just kept coming back. They would never cancel the stamps, but they just kept sending the package back to me 4 times. So eventually I just got them the USB drive because I needed to get them the information, but...
If you're in a hurry or if it is important, pay normal rates, but still keep the form that I'm suggesting how you write an outgoing address. I have had USB and I've had things lost in the mail, but I just consider that the cost of the game. I don't believe there's anyone you can enforce or whatnot. I did send a certified letter recently, and I'm complaining to the post office it never arrived. But Lord, look at all the mail they handle. It's okay that they should occasionally lose stuff. Now, if you certify or register, it should be more careful. I understand what happened to you, and I'm sorry, but this is sort of what happens. You need to get have you sent heavy things like a paperback book, heavier things to your person rather than just your valuable USB drive? You just need to open up a network. That's what we're talking about here, and there's no automatic or super powerful way to do it. You can move into certified mail and such, and see, I've done free mail certified. I've done free mail registered. That really puts the pressure on them, but I don't think you can do those things in the beginning. You need to have, what you're doing and the people you're mailing to. You need to have that network sort of working smoothly. See, imagine there must be 100,000 postmen in our country who don't have any idea what we're doing. And certainly they want to shut us down.
Right, absolutely. It's not that they didn't get it, it's that it didn't get lost, they just wouldn't send it, it kept getting returned to me. So it's just a matter of maybe somebody along that particular route, we just, like you said, I have to keep pounding away at them until it gets through to the other side. Because I think they were just rejecting it, but I think they knew what they were rejecting because they didn't cancel the stamps, which they normally do. They normally cancel what you put on there for the work that they did do, but until you got to start all over again.
Did you look at it under UV light? Because sometimes they cancel it with ultraviolet ink. You don't see it unless you put the ultraviolet light on it.
No, I did not check that.
Yeah, check that, because the UV light is what the UV stuff is what they use to cancel stamps, and the machines will see it, but unless you put a UV light on it, you're not going to see it. So they might have canceled it.
Okay.
My postman, my postmaster, has told me many times they simply put my letters in a dead letter file, and perhaps they send them off to Washington or something. All I know is he's just blowing smoke. I believe the clerks in the 5 different branch post offices in our area also sell me the stamps, believing that my mail just ends in the dead letter file, but I don't experience that. People call me when they get my mail. Right. So maybe some go into the dead letter file. many of the people I write to will not admit they got it because they think it's a crime and they don't want to be involved, and they don't like me anyway. But so it's just funny, but it's available to the people who have the persistence to stay with the game. Now, Jason in Idaho has been at this about 2 months, maybe longer, and he has general delivery, and he has a very thankful letter from the postmaster telling him the general delivery is for him. The postal clerks like to tell you you can only have it for 30 days, but that's simply not true. It's 30 days per each piece of mail that you need to pick it up within 30 days. It's in the domestic mail manual, very likely, but the general mail delivery was the original system, and we can still use that outside of U.S. statutes and everything when we know about it and we practice it. And you can write letters to yourself, and you can also use my address as a return address if you want to feign like it came from me. I give you permission to do that.
Could you explain from the beginning the general delivery, why you do it, and what happens?
It's in the domestic mail manual, but only a few sentences. I believe that the general delivery is a function of the mail for thousands of years. They used to stick letters on a post downtown, and people would go and get mail addressed to them. But then people started stealing each other's mail, so they made post offices. But even today, I do not have to have, nor when I want to show, a government-issued photo ID to go and get my mail. They can ask for it, but you don't have to show it, and they should know that. And certainly they've seen me at my post office for 40 years. They have agreed, no matter where I sleep, that I do not have a resident address. They don't quite understand why, but resident has meaning in law, and that ties you into the federal system. So if you have a resident address, or if any court or driver's license, if anybody has a record of any address you gave them, they're presuming it's a resident address, and they've captured you as a U.S. citizen. So you don't want a resident address. It's all in your own mind what you declare. Is that an autograph or is that your signature? Well, that's my autograph. Well, when you signed it, it said signature. I know, but I just wrote my autograph there.
Right, so you would suggest doing that for, because most folks still, I would think, still have a regular mail receptacle at their home or their business, and, you know, they're not, I don't think we're quite as paranoid as some as far as getting caught in the system, but you recommend just sending a letter to oneself for general delivery and then going down there and claiming it to see if it happens. Because I went and tried to find your letter that you sent me, and it was not there as of yet, and it had been a couple weeks.
Nelson, maybe you and I have been too aggressive to cause them to have greater resistance. But general delivery is just a fact in law, and every post office should know, although they don't, that if you go over to your cousin's house for a month, you can get mail downtown at the post office. It's for transients, for people who don't have a resident address. But once you understand the legal definition of a resident address, I don't think I've had a resident address my whole life, but I only learned that 5 years ago. And you can get mail. See, I get some mail at a UPS store, a little letterbox service. You can get mail at 3 or 4 different places, care of Kodak Developing Center, care of the Kanawha County Library. But you'd need the permission of the one who owns that land that you can get mail there. But you can have them simultaneously. I believe that, I think that you can get Amazon to send things to your general delivery address, but you might have to send it to a friend's house or something. Most of us have a driver's license with a resident address. I don't have a driver's license since 2012. I believe that I have rescinded all government contracts, and I had an arrest for traveling without a seatbelt. It was wrong, and it happened 4 years ago. But they don't have a mailing address for me, so they can't send me a bill or whatnot, and that's fine. I don't give them a mailing address.
Could you explain why do we use 2 cent if we would just put prepaid postage on it, why do we even need a 2-cent operation?
We asked.
Are you there still, Ted? No. Yeah.
Maybe because, like he was saying, if you go too
Yeah,
far
that's
too
still
fast,
But I would like to know
postmasters
of him.
go whoa, 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 because they haven't seen it. But if you lead them out the
I would like to
trail
know of him.
slowly, starting with stamps, then without stamps, maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm just trying to
So he
fill
gets
in the
pulled
dead
over
time.
or he gets arrested.
Yeah, there was that whole tax
has
per
to
queue
use some
movement
kind of
for a
records.
while, everybody was.
That's
And
the way to
again,
give-
I think it
give
may
something
just
with
be,
the hazard.
as I said before,
If you're giving
that
In
we
care
have
of
the right
whatever
as men and
place,
women
you
to
sleep
communicate.
somewhere, right? Where do you
Right.
sleep?
And that's what I think it's as basic as that.
That's what I think. I think there's got to be
Where you
basics
keep your
to
clothes,
most of this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not as
In a
basic as
house
it
by
should
a
be
road,
because of
same
how
as you.
long it's gone on for.
And they pile layers of
In my boat.
entanglement.
But we didn't
In my
make
boat.
this to be
And where is
basic
that
in
house?
1776. You know what I mean? Like everything
which
wasn't
street?
designed to be, let's make it how complicated can we make it. It had to be simple for those people back
Right,
then.
and I mean, I read
Right.
up
That's how
on
you have to
how
speak to them.
Franklin started.
No, I'm
He
serious. That's how you
established
can
his
get it.
origin
That's-
as
on
man,
that street?
post roads.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes,
at the
there
corner
And
there?
one of the
What does
things
it
was
say?
that
It's at the cross corner
when
of
he
that
became
street
the
and next street.
postmaster, one of the benefits
Yeah, what
he
does it
got
say? What
was
does it
sending out
say?
his
Say it.
commercial
Everything is
papers
different.
for free.
Okay, so the
It's not alive.
Meet with Family webcast thing is down,
That's how you.
Okay.
so we're not going to be able to do
I
that.
can already see you on the way to Rikers Island.
Tell him it's over.
Take off your hat.
What we can try is Skype. Does he have Skype?
Oh, so the main website.
Yeah, there are websites down, he's saying.
We can do Skype.
It may just
Where's
be
your
the
hand?
Wi-Fi again.
Yeah.
It's not your Wi-Fi, and it's not the internet. It's the website.
So tell him I'm trying him on Skype.
Yeah, tell him to. Matter of fact, I think I've got Ted on Skype.
I'm telling him we're trying him on Skype.
Would this help take us out of the system by changing our address at the post office to care of or rural Drew?
What help?
Yeah, there we go.
To change our all caps names address to care of without the zip code in a box.
One of the problems you'll find is that anything that you do that deals with computer systems, so online
Wires,
sales,
right.
anything like that, you won't even accept the care of in the address field.
You're right, but you know what I do?
You're right.
It'll,
Here.
I write, that's the name. When it asks me for my name, my first name is Care, my last name is Of.
There you go.
And that's what, and everything comes care of,
Excellent.
and my
Right.
address, and
That's
my
exactly.
address.
And
Now,
I'm-
there's
I'm-
no name on it either, so there's no
Right.
name,
Right.
it just says care
That's why
of.
I'm thinking of doing that one. That's good.
And on the
problem
second
though you'll
line
have
for
to add
address,
is that the
I'll put-
billing address and the mailing address won't match for the credit card payment if you're doing an online purchase. So that, although is a good idea, it probably wouldn't work if you were trying to create an account for online purchasing.
I don't really check that. Yeah.
That's the only way I,
Yeah,
I
think-
won't have anything come in my name.
Because you can have that sent. You can use your card to send something to someone else, a friend or whatever.
Right.
You want to buy something for them.
There's a billing and a shipping address
right,
that they
exactly.
require.
So
But
the-
even, and then I use, well, I have a business and I just use the business card, so even there on the name, I write my business name on there, they still won't get my name even on that, because it's that,
Right.
a bank account that it's coming out of and all of that.
Right.
Okay.
So there's an account and a business name and I use that card.
one time they give you if they give you 2 lines for the street address,
Right.
I put the street address, non-domestic, non-assumptive, and they took it. I'm like, that's cool.
Well, because that second address line is like pretty much to tell them, like, I have a business in a strip mall.
Or the number, like it's number.
Right, but
Right.
everybody's the same address in the whole strip mall, so the second line is for you to really identify your suite number or your business name or whatever.
Right.
So it has to accept just about everything.
Right.
It really can't. So you could really. That's I
I
didn't think
tried
about
calling him
that.
and he didn't answer, went to
Yeah.
his voicemail,
Well, you
so.
can, well, you can do
All
it
right,
on the
why don't
first
we just
one.
tell them thanks a lot?
You can
Yeah,
put your
shows
logo,
enough.
and then you
Okay.
can put
That is
additional
cool.
information on that.
Yeah,
second
isn't
one.
it?
Right, right,
Thank
right.
you. That was
Exactly.
awesome.
Right.
Right. Well, you don't use your, you don't put your.
And I definitely go to
No.
it. I'm gonna go
His
check it out.
website.
Yeah,
Never.
there you go. And he'll
Nothing ever. My wife knows
My
everything
suggestion
that
is
comes to me. She's like,
email
"Oh, I'm
him
here. No
your-
name. It's yours."
email him your address,
I like that.
name and address. He'll start.
How do you spell it?
You know, you'll get your own
AB.
relationship going with him.
Yeah.
Are you here in New Jersey?
Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm in Tom's River.
Oh, okay, sounds good, sure.
Okay, thanks. We are moving to the next subject. How about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, in answer, Doug, in answer to that question,
Some
most of the
will
stuff I do
connect
is all care of.
with
When I
you.
can.
That's what I
Okay.
do.
I do
What-
care.
what-
The
what-
rest of it, I'll do the
Yeah.
zip code in brackets.
Because if they ask for the zip code, they'll tell you around, you
Okay,
put
thanks. I'm
care
gonna head
of.
back to what I was doing.
Care of, so it's
Thanks
not-
a lot
Or
for
just
your
near.
cooperation.
It should get,
Oh,
it's fine. I've had
somebody's-
these mailed out.
Oh, here's Ted. Let's see what he has to
Yeah.
say. Hey, Ted.
And I've played with this a little bit, so like, I think all that extra stuff on there, like it protects you and everything more, but
Ted.
the post office will send it with a lot less
Okay,
of
I'll
that
tell
stuff on there,
Yeah.
like with simply just writing.
Thanks, Ted.
I've put them on there where it's just the address, the return address, the you know, C/O, the number and street, and then Tom's River, New Jersey Republic, and then to whoever. And I just send it to them however they have their stuff, because I'm sending it to them, so I don't care. But it always gets there, and when stuff's got to come back to me, it comes back to me no problem. I've mailed stuff to me just writing that. Nothing else. Just writing not without the United States, not writing any of that to it. It still comes to me with no zip
I haven't
code.
tried
That's,
that.
that's interesting though, because you just said New Jersey Republic.
Yes.
Now, I've sent mail, not, because you're doing New Jersey Republic to New Jersey Republic using the old post office, domestic mail, all that. I've been sending mail, or have sent mail, to a Republic state elsewhere, again without the zip code, any of that stuff, but it's gone international. It was certified mail I was sending it so I could track it, but it went to New York, and I've done it a few times and they've gone to New York as international mail, and then they come back into the system again, and then they go to the address, but it's a republic. I've been sending them to a republic, but somewhere on there,
Right.
because I've not been using the old original post office, they're using the United States Postal Service, they're then going out to this international mail sorting office, but then they're coming back into
My
the
understanding
country.
is as soon as it goes into the if I walk into this local post office and talk to a clerk,
Right. You're not
You're
getting.
in USPS.
I went international.
Right.
I just am speaking internationally. That's my understanding of what's happening.
Well, they work for the They work for the USPS.
No, I as a man am foreign
Yes.
to the USPS.
Right. Right. And that's why
Yes.
they won't work with you, because they're only
Not
for the
unless I pay
corporation.
them. Not unless I pay them.
Right, right,
If I
right. Well, they
pay
don't
them,
take your
then-
stuff and everything like that, right?
They
Like
won't.
when I go in, right, I got to put it right in either the slot or I have to drop it in the blue box, like you said outside.
Right, and my thought, and I have not tried it yet, but I'm going to, is a bigger parcel. They won't take them in the boxes here because they have that little
Right,
uh,
right. the little
governor
drawer,
on it
right.
where you can only
Then you
fit
go
It's
something.
back to
only
the
fits so
loading dock.
big.
Excuse me?
At our post office, if you've got stuff that's after hours or whatever, you can take it to the loading dock till it's set back.
That's nice. No, I haven't. I don't think they would let that happen here. We're a small town. But my point is that there is a place. There's two doors in every post office. One's for the post office and one's for the postal service.
Right. Right, it's like a whole nother section. They're always like completely
It's a whole
sectioned off. It's a whole nother closing of doors and a whole nother everything.
So
Oh, yeah, that's the stuff, that's true.
yeah, there's two, and the postmaster, his office is behind the post office door. All the other people are part of the postal service. He may also be the postmaster for the service as well, 2 hats, I don't know. But anyway, there's a place in our where there's just a large area where one can put mail through slots, meter.
Yeah.
But then there's a rectangle, gold-plated, brass-plated type slot, which I could put a package in. That they're
Right.
not saying 911, 911, stop the the madness
Right.
and all that. So if I put my 2-cent mail or prepaid mail in that slot, I believe there it is until they don't advertise it.
Right.
It's just they have to give it to us.
Right. Because it's already in their system. It gets in there. That's because you put it right in. It goes right into a bucket in the back, and then that's
Right.
it. It's already there.
Right.
You're long gone before they ever even see it. It's already
Well, I don't
accepted.
think it went right. Well, they have not. They don't touch it. It
Right.
bypasses the United
Right.
States Postal Service. Now they're
Right.
hired to come and pick it out of there
Correct.
and carry it where I told them to.
Right.
Right.
That's why I always send the stuff. I never had a problem dropping it either through
Right.
that slot
Yeah.
or
See, that's
just
the-
that
I mean, in
the
all these
USB
years,
drive,
we
which I
don't
guess
know
maybe
any
is
of this,
bigger.
All right. Well,
So any blue bags outside?
Yes. Yeah, you can put them in there in the blue boxes, or you can't give it to a person.
Right.
You can't give it to a person.
How can you?
Right, but you go inside. Well, like you're saying, that you go inside. There's 2 slots in there. There's one for letters, and then there's one for the pull for
Right.
bigger boxes and
so,
stuff.
one quick
Put 'em
story
in
is
there.
after there was one
The big
meeting
one.
we had
Either
here.
It will,
There was one meeting we had here, and we went through the whole TED thing, and we were convinced, prepaid, no money at all, etc. Got them all ready, went to the counter, and the lady didn't know what to do, so she took them, and we thought we had had success.
Right.
They all came back with a letter from the postmaster saying we were basically, terrorists in a nice way.
Terrorists.
Yeah. And it was unsigned. And so had we, I think, put all those envelopes just into
In the
that
slot.
2 feet away, it would have went with no problem.
Yes, because you were trying to interfere with their business, right? And that's what you're
They're not- and
interfering.
they were-
You don't belong in that corporate.
Unless I paid, it was
Right.
They charge, the postal rates are X. If I want to
Right.
have them do it through
And
their
you went to
system,
them, right?
It's
Oh, you went to the county, so you
Yeah,
went to the
the
counter.
counter. Yes.
Okay, so all you had to do was just put it in the slot. And
Correct,
It was fine.
correct.
3 feet to my left,
They get mad at you.
there was a slot.
They don't like when I go in there and ask them for
Right.
tickets, for registered mail tickets. They're like, "What do you need these for?" and stuff. They give
won't
me an
give-
argument,
they
and I'm
won't
just
give
like,
them to me.
"You just give me. You just go to another one.
Another.
Just go to another post office.
Okay.
One of them was just going to give you a roll." That's what I did. I would like 3 different times. The lady gave me a hard time, and then I went in there and I was like, "Oh, there's a different lady behind the counter." I went back there and I asked her. She's like, "Oh, how many do you want?"
You doing my registered mail then?
Yeah, that
Oh,
at the
yeah.
time was registered mail
You know what we
tickets and
didn't
stuff.
ask
yeah.
him, which somebody, if you do talk to Ted, one thing I would like to know is the question on return receipt. How
Oh, yeah,
he did
exactly.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like
Is
to
it-
know that 'cause I spent
Should
a lot
I
of
call
money
him
on
one
those
more
damn
time
things.
real quick?
Well,
See if he's still
spend
in
a lot of
his
money on
desk.
those.
If it's
Well,
a
I
registered
took
mail,
it to the
is
machine.
it not?
Yeah, they're
Is it not
expensive.
showing on the website,
So-
their
But
website?
you
It's
still
trackable.
pay or
The numbers
No, you
trackable.
can do it without paying.
you can't get it stamped.
Now,
Otherwise,
so
you don't bring it up.
there's
Well,
a
that's what he's
machine
gonna ask.
at the
Thank God.
post
Return-
office
he's
that
gotten-
scan the
he's
barcode
gotten
on
green
the
cards
return
back.
thing.
Not in every
Right.
post office is different. Mine
Right.
doesn't have it.
Pay
I'd have
the
to go,
$3,
okay,
whatever.
you're answering
No,
my
he didn't pay
question,
the
then maybe
extra.
I have to go somewhere.
For free.
Well,
He gets them back for free.
So let's
Didn't
just,
have a
I'm
registered
going to try to
label.
just get 1 or 2 more questions
I
answered.
guess
since
I have to
See, because I know he's done certified. I don't remember if I saw it
Okay.
registered up there too, but I know I've seen certified on
Alright.
the site.
put
Yeah,
my
it's
speaker.
done-
Okay,
it's done-
quiet on
Registered
set.
too. He says I'm registered also.
And not 2 cents, it's done free.
Right, free. He does it for free.
Maybe he went out for a walk.
That's right.
Well, I think getting them to recognize you as general mail delivery was pretty interesting.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting because now they have you listed as that.
Mhm.
Now you have an agency that's listed you and categorized you a certain way. Look, even the post office acknowledges that I don't have a residence.
Oh, wait a minute. Good. We
What was
got
that about the residents?
Well, he's saying that the gentleman in Utah has gotten accepted from the letter saying that your mail is now general mail.
This is Nelson
Right,
again. The
that
group
doesn't
had a
have
couple more
residence.
questions that we had.
Well, now it's not
All right, well,
just you walking,
I'm
it's
gonna
not
put
just
you
you
on-
saying it
right.
now. Now you have another
You had a
issue
good
saying the
day
same
when you
thing.
talked
Oh, no,
about
no, no,
mail.
we have him set up properly, it's just a general thing. That's not being a resident.
All right, hold on. I'm putting you on
You have your
speakerphone,
stuff
and then I'm
on.
going to ask you a question. And all right, hold on. Okay, Ted. The question has to do with certified mail and registered mail. A, whether they are tracked properly, and B, what you do on return receipt questions.
Okay, you can go to a website, of course, and watch it go from city to city where it's delayed and when it's picked up. And you might want to make a screen dump of any of those if you need them from court situations.
Smart.
On the green return card, I always use the same format for my mailing, both the return and the outgoing. It says on the card, prepaid by the Postal Service, and there's a box like a stamp place, and it's printed on the card. I always put my 2-cent stamp on top of there so I get no government benefit. I don't let it travel on their account. I pay myself for the shipping. You'd like it to come back autographed or signed by somebody, which it's often not, but you can underline in red where it says signature. That might encourage them to do it. And if it comes back not signed, you can actually go down to the post office and get your $6 or $8 back. It's a fair complaint to make because they're supposed to bring back a signature.
No,
Now,
okay, hold on. I think we're not talking the same language. I'm saying if you put a free registered mail into the system, you're saying, can we only get a return receipt if we pay their fee to mail?
No, I don't deal with them at all. I prepare it all and put it in a blue box. If you deal with a clerk, they bring forth United States Postal Service rules and regulations. Don't deal with a clerk.
Okay, go through the process of
So
mailing.
it is registered and it is tracked, that's what we're saying.
So it was good that you said about how to track the registered mail. That was great. That made a lot of sense to me. And you just track it as it goes. Because you put in a regular box, let's say you pay nothing to mail it, no postage, that number goes into their system and you can just log on and track by that number, correct?
Right, and an important thing I'm saying here is do not engage with the clerk. They are the defense team for the U.S. Postal Service. If you put it in a blue box outside or the drop-letter box inside, I believe they must carry it as the post office regulations require, but you're through their defenses. You don't want to deal with the clerk. The clerk doesn't know and doesn't want to know.
Right. I understand. So now my last question about this, before anyone else, is hold on one second.
Clerk's a jerk. The clerk's a jerk.
The one question I have is, do you attach a green card for the return receipt when you do a registered letter?
And when you're doing registered mail, there's another little thing that you make a master and a copy, and I just take that onto the box. I don't know if it's required or not, but there's an extra piece of paper they fill out, whether it's international or not, and I just tape that on the box. They can worry about it. You might even make
Basically,
it
he
clear
just becomes the clerk.
and tape it on so they can see
Tapes
what's
it
in it
on.
to take it
He
out.
still puts the 2 cent
Certified
stamp
and registered
on,
mail
he just
as
has the
I have
back
done.
off.
With the green
So
card,
that
I'm making suggestions on how you would complete it, the business reply.
I got it. I think. Okay, good. I think.
With all the numbers on there.
Yeah, I think I got it, because you basically just become the clerk and keep it out of their system, and then put a 2-cent stamp on the green card that is returned to you that it was delivered, correct?
Right, and once I got on the box I mailed to Pittsburgh, it had a stamp on it that said COVID-19, which I think they're saying we didn't knock on the door and meet the man, we left it on his doorstep and ran. Now I think that that's wrong. That's what they have done on my certified.
It cuts their route short.
I've got a couple of minutes.
Okay, I'm going to hand the phone to anyone else who has a question.
Ted, I just had a question regarding when you're sending out a box, how big a box are you putting an envelope in there? This is just like a small box that you might get possibly from the post office that you now put in a piece of paper, brown paper, or are you just talking about some of the box you purchased elsewhere?
I believe I recognize your voice. What's your first name?
This is Brian from New York.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I use cereal boxes that I eat breakfast cereal out of.
Okay.
You can mail in anything. You can mail it in a fridge. There are no regulations according to the post office about this stuff. But the more handsome and professional it looks, probably will be the swifter pass. But there are now. Here's the first rule I observe. If I mail a 4-pound package by putting it in a blue box, then that 16-ounce rule does not apply to me. But when I tried to give it to the clerk, they want to know what's in it, discuss the rate, and then they refused it when I did the free postage. So I looked at that. I learned by doing simple nonsense, but I thought it was great to learn that I am not bound by the 16-ounce rule.
Okay, so if you want, like for instance, if you want to send something registered as opposed to certified, and you want to get a green card back with that, you're saying that would be the same thing. You'd use some kind of a box to put in, which is good because people think they're more likely to probably take it because they realize it looks like it might be a gift or something. So is that how you would do that?
Yeah. If you make a handsome, professional, brown paper pocket, whatever, it's probably going to get less supervision than if you do something odd. But the point is, and you want to get, some of our mailboxes in town are now restricted. You can't open them very wide to put a bigger thing in. And often a mailbox will say 16 ounces or greater must go to the post office, but those are USPS rules, different than PO rules.
Okay, but again, getting back to sending registered or even certified, because the registered mail is a lot more expensive today to send. It's like $12 and then another $3 for a green card. So, but if you take that and put that into some small box or whatever, maybe whatever it is, professional, and then attach the green card. The green card you put a 2-cent stamp. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then on the box, what would you put? What kind of postage would you put on the box if it's say 4 ounces or something, 4 or 5 ounces?
My experience with registered and certified is to do them free. The international manual says treat as prepaid, and essentially is free postage. It has to do with countries that don't have a stamp. Well, I'm Ted Elman, I'm a country, I don't have a stamp.
But so as long as you have that certified or registered stamp on there that you're sending, you can track it, obviously. So that's kind of interesting. So I guess it would be a test just to do it, to send it either to yourself or someone else.
All right. The point, a very important point, is to sort of do testing. If you do a 2-cent stamp today, a letter today, and it goes there, and then you send a registered mail tomorrow for free, that's too big a step.
Okay.
200 fillers along the way, and then you'll be recognized and accepted when you send your mail. Certified and registered have a greater power. You could put some postage on. I do primarily mail that I put postage on rather than the free mail. I want to save the free mail for my records that go to a court or something of lawful significance, and all the other things I send, DVDs, etc. I just pay the postage.
Right.
10 cents, 20 cents, the postage is nothing.
Right.
Right.
But I need people that will help me do the research.
Right.
Instead, I only find people who do the mailing.
Right. Well, I've been doing a little, but not enough. But there's other. We'll get to it, Ted. I promise.
So well, there's a book I have now. It's about 450 pages, and I think it has all this stuff in that one book. And I can email it to you or something. But the opportunities are huge outside. The only thing that restrains us is our own belief. They're not true.
I understand. We get it. Question for you on any sort of commerce or commercial application or business. Is there, in your view, a restriction on me wanting to engage or in sending something to someone from in a business standpoint?
I think it's always better to address something to a live person. Now, you could say to the postal clerk or to the judge.
Okay, so it's addressed to a live
But
person.
it's always better to have
The man
the
or
word
the
maybe
woman.
is people or something person is
Yeah, we get it. One of the people.
better to direct something to a person, but you can have it to their, to the Exxon Corporation. You can have it to a business address.
Gotcha.
And whether you have money or an order inside, I don't think commerce is impacted by the things I'm doing.
I got it. That's good. That's helpful clarity. So what I learned from that potentially is if I send something to a residence address or a business address, as long as there's one of the people's names on it, then I can do the 2-cent or free mail.
Well, you don't even need a person's mail. From Chicago, I mailed to 123 Grand Street, St. Albans. I did several pieces of mail from Chicago with no name on it at all, and only 2 cents, and none of those other words that I used. But they can resist you just arbitrarily. Like if you're doing general delivery, they can say you've used it 30 days, now you have to go away. That's not true. They don't know any better, but you just have to stand there until they understand. Now, on registered mail, you have to get a 9-digit code or something on a big 2 by 3-inch red label. Now, those are precious, and if you go to the post office, they used to be free for people to pick up, but now they're not in the lobby. You go over to the clerk and say, I want to prepare my package at home, and on the letter I write, I want to list the registered mail number. So you give me the sticker now, so I can take home and pack it. And they will say, no, you have to bring it here, and we'll put it on the package when you're ready to mail it. But you say, no, I want it to be inside on the letter, so you must give me the registered stickers. You got for me a roll of registered stickers, but they don't have the numbers on them.
Yeah, I know. I understand. I kind of knew that was the case. So, all right. Anyone else have a question for Ted? Hold on, Ted.
So I could mail an 8-pound Afghan.
Give me your name and.
Yeah, this is Douglas. I could mail an 8-pound Afghan for my sister across the country.
Sure, wherever you want.
Okay. I was just calculating the postage at 128.
Don't do that first. Go through some lighter stuff and heavier and heavier until you've got the path open. Don't just go down there tomorrow and try to do that.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mother.
All right, Ted. You're much obliged. Thanks a million.
Thank you.
All right, see you.
All right, Ted.
All right, that was helpful. Some more good information.
Now, on the registered stickers, I've gone to small town, out of the city, to small towns, and grabbed them there, and they'll give me 10, 20 at a time.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a status you can get with the post office if you get this status. It's for people who do lots of mailing, and you can order once they approve you with that status, you can order postal materials such as a whole roll of those red certified stickers.
Right.
You can order a whole
Yourself,
roll
right.
at a time.
Okay.
So you can do it that way. But I've got about 50 of them sitting at home.
If you
Yeah.
send 25 of those to Ted, that
I
will
can.
be like Christmas to him.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
You
just
can't get-
drive
they're
20
starting
minutes out of
to,
town?
wrap him up and not giving him what he needs.
Oh, I'll send it to him.
That'd be
I'll send
awesome.
it to him,
You
yeah.
have his address?
I've got his website right here. I'll go to
All
it.
right,
as soon as
well,
I
I'll
get
stop back later. Hope you have a good afternoon.
How was your
home. That
project
was
going
fun.
on?
Thanks,
later.
Nelson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. I've been waiting about 2 years for that.